Democrats make up a minority in both the State House and Senate, but the Democratic caucus today said that they're going to be fighting hard for an agenda that includes Medicaid expansion, increasing education funding, and fighting for low and middle class Oklahomans. Hi, I'm Ben Felder with the Oklahoman. Today is Tuesday at the state capitol, a day after Governor Kevin Stitt announced his agenda for the next session, a Oklahoma turnaround as he calls it. Democrats today are promising a brand new Oklahoma. House and Senate Democrats had a joint press conference to announce their agenda. One of the items on there is they say they'd like to raise the minimum wage.
We believe that every Oklahoman deserves an opportunity to work. We believe that in order to sustain yourselves in this state, we see many people who are having to work 2 jobs just to be able to pay their rent, to pay for gasoline to get to work, to be able to pay for clothing and food for their children. We need a livable wage for all Oklahomans. We need to have an increase in minimum wage.
They also said that they're going to be fighting for Medicaid expansion, saying that Oklahoma deserves to be able to get federal dollars to expand health care coverage that they say will help keep rural hospitals and clinics open.
We've all seen the headlines. It seems like day after day we see a different rural hospital that's either declaring bankruptcy, on the verge of not being able to make payroll, or closing entirely. Many rural citizens are having to drive 100 miles just to have a baby. That is simply unacceptable, and we believe that Oklahomans deserve better.
Now, Democrats are the minority in both chambers. Last year they had some relevancy as there were several tax increase bills that require that 3/4 vote. Democrats were able to flex their muscle as the minority party, but this year there aren't expected to be any tax increase bills on the floor up for a vote. So Democrats say they're going to have to try to work with Republicans and convince them that their ideas are what's best for the state.
We are going to continue to go to committee, to ask the hard questions, to talk to authors, to point out problems we see, and continue to move forward to debate on the floor and do the same thing. If you look at how the Democrats in the Senate have handled the past few sessions, you'll see that about 20 to 25% of the time we definitely are a voice to be reckoned with, because the votes just don't have the votes to get there without us. So we're going to continue to flex our muscles. We'll compromise when we absolutely have to, but we'll stand by the decisions that we need to stand by for what's best for our districts and our constituents.
And as I've said many times before, we take our responsibility as the minority party in the House very seriously. As Leader Floyd said, it's our job to ask those tough questions to make sure that nothing's hiding in legislation. But I think we've shown, excuse me, over the past 2 to 3 years that we do have power in the House, especially when it comes to the revenue conversation.
This is the first official week for the 2019 legislative session. Bills will start to be heard in committee and votes will start to take place. It's a long next few months as the legislature will be battling over issues of policy and the budget. Democrats say they will have a relevant voice this year as the session continues.